Friends, just look at this photo. You will find such marks even today in the streets of Hiroshima, but do you know how these marks were made? On the 6th of August 1945, when America dropped the atom bomb on Hiroshima, Japan, the heat from it was so high that the shadows of the people who came in front of it got printed here forever. Due to this explosion, the temperature of the city reached 4,000 degrees Celsius, in which everything from metal to human skin and bones melted. Wait at 8:15, this clock shows the time when this bomb named Little Boy was dropped on Hiroshima, and in the next few moments more than 90,000 people here had died. But America did not stop here, and just 2 days later, on the 9th of August 1945, it dropped the atom bomb on another big city of Japan, Nagasaki, and there too, this destructive weapon took the lives of about 1 lakh people. Now friends, we saw a similar massacre that shames humanity during the British rule as well. It was seen when lakhs of people of India were either killed or left to be helpless. This is the reason that even after 75 years of independence, most Indians hate the British a lot, and even today those painful memories are alive in our hearts. But if we look at Japan, about 70% of Japanese people like America and consider it their most trusted partner. In such a situation, friends, the question arises that despite such a dangerous disaster and the most destructive attack in human history, what is the reason that Japanese people still like America? Along with this, we also have to know what happened between America and Japan, who fought together against Germany in World War I, that their enmity wrote the path of destruction. But friends, before we talk about the enmity between these two countries, I want to take you to a distance when the friendship between Japan and America was tied. So friends, in the year 1868, the imperial rule started in Japan under the empire, and it has been going on for 100 years, after the Tokugawa shogun came. The rule is abolished. Now if it is explained in simple words, before the year 1868, Japan was ruled by the military, where there was a king to rule, but the entire control of power was in the hands of the military commanders. Emperor Jin, along with the American army, attacked the rule of these military commanders, due to which the power to run the country went out of the hands of these military commanders. Actually, the rule of Hawa shogun came into being, which was based on the concept of strict nationalism, due to which there was a ban on the entry of foreign tourists and goods in Japan. Due to this, industrial development in Japan was completely halted, and the people here were bound under strict restrictions. Today, an example of this can be seen in the form of North Korea, but since the advent of imperial rule, all the situations have changed. Modernization and industrialism in Japan grow very fast, and their trade relations with Western countries also improve. Now in the midst of all this, you must be thinking that this whole country is still a part of the world. What was so hidden in this situation for America that overturned the entire government of Japan? Actually friends, America did not do this to help Japan, but to open trade routes for itself in Asia. The American ships coming to Asia for trade needed stations to fill their cargo, which they could easily get in Japan. But during the military rule, American ships were not allowed to enter Japan, but this location was very important for them. This is the reason why America had put in all its efforts to bring imperial rule in Japan. From the year 1868, the doors of Japan were opened to the world, and the industrial development of this country is gaining momentum. Now America had started making things inside Japan as well, due to which it started trading a lot of weapons from Japan instead of its own country in Asia. Their relationship between America and Japan had reached new heights, which was proving beneficial for both the countries. In the World War I that ended in the year 1918, both these countries together faced Germany and tasted victory together. After the war ended, the Central Powers divided its territories, which were won by the Allied powers among themselves, and Japan got the majority territories which were present in the Asia region. But friends, under the imperial rule, Japan had lost its mouth, and this country started attacking other countries with the dream of becoming Greater Asia. Friends, Greater Asia was a similar concept as Akan Bharat was for us. The only difference was that Japan wanted to capture it at gunpoint. By 1921, Japan captured Manchuria, which used to be the North Star of today's China. But friends, Japan did not stop here, and within no time, it succeeded in capturing many countries of the Western region. Countries like America, Britain and France instructed Japan that it should give up its war policy and free all these countries. Now friends, till now America and other Western countries were trying to understand Japan, but the limit was crossed when in 1941, the Japanese Imperial Army captured Indochina, which used to be the directory of that time. America did not take this act of Japan lightly at all, and in one stroke, imposed a ban on the oil and other natural resources exported to Japan. The result was that in one stroke, Japan's industry was locked down and like Alexander, the imperial army set out with the dream of conquering the world. The Japanese army also had to stop its caravan. Now friends, this was a time when World War II was going on in the world and most of the countries of Europe were engaged in war with Nazi Germany. America had not yet become a part of World War II directly, but it had prepared its army in view of the possibility of any danger. Now this was America's point of view where according to them, they were preparing their army for defense, but on the other hand, Japan's Emperor Hiro had assumed that America was preparing its army to attack them. In view of the possibility of an attack on itself, Japan conspired to weaken America even before the war and attacked one of its naval bases on the 7th of December 1941. This was done so suddenly that America did not even realize it, and in this attack, its 12 battleships and more than 150 aircrafts were destroyed. Along with this, more than 2,400 Americans were killed in this attack by Japan and about 1,200 people were badly injured. America, which was till now reluctant to join World War II, had to jump into the war unwillingly, and the then President of America Franklin D. Roosevelt announced war against Japan. Now friends, here Japan joined hands with Nazi Germany and both the countries together attacked America. This war was going on continuously from the year 1941 to the beginning of 1945, and America had lost more than 12 lakh of its soldiers in these years. On the 30th of April 1945, Hitler committed suicide and Germany surrendered in front of the elite forces, but Japan led by Hirohito was still not ready to give up. Meanwhile, American experts estimated that if the war continued like this, then America would lose about lakhs of lives in the coming years, and in Japan this number would go beyond 1 crore. After hearing these figures, Harriet Roman, who had become the new president of America some time ago, started planning to drop the atom bomb on Japan. The logic behind this dangerous attack was that Japan will surrender immediately and the future destruction will be stopped. On the 26th of July 1945, the leaders of the elite forces made a declaration according to which if Japan did not surrender, it was threatened with a nuclear attack. But the heroic heroes sitting on the Japanese vehicle did not even listen to the words, and they clearly refused to surrender. America now had only one way to defeat Japan, and finally they used their Brahmastra. On the 6th of August 1945, America dropped atom bombs on Hiroshima and destroyed the entire city. Now friends, after seeing such a painful scene, no one's patience would weaken, but you will be surprised to know that Japanese Emperor Hiroshima still refuses to surrender. After this, in 1945, the second atom bomb is dropped on Nagasaki, and in both these incidents, about 2 lakh Japanese people lose their lives. Now friends, at this point, Hiroshi has no other option left except to surrender, and in this way World War II ends. But friends, our question is what to do despite this painful scene, or why do you news people like Americans, and how America has remained the biggest elite, i.e. friend of Japan even today. Now friends, the answer to this is probably hidden in those steps of America which they took after the end of World War II. America occupies Japan, but their aim is not to rule here but to remove Japan from imperial rule. The hero had to take Japan towards democracy, so the people who used to be the imperial governor of Japan were made symbolic leaders and a democratic government was formed in Japan. America and other Western countries helped Japan in developing its constitution, which was completely inspired by the constitution of this country itself. Japan is helped, and America also takes the responsibility of restoration of industries on its shoulders. Even America shared its advanced technology with Japan to help Japan, due to which industrial growth increased a lot in a few years, and Japanese companies started competing with American companies by going to the American market. However, America did not take this matter seriously and left its market open for Japanese companies. Today we are seeing Japan at the height of technological advancement and industrial growth. America's biggest contribution will be said to be in that, and perhaps this is the reason that despite the massacre in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the people of Japan are still very loyal to the Americans. They do not hate America at all. The people there consider the work of America as the fault of the ruling heroine of Japan and say that America is the best for them. However, friends, the reality is that if America had not helped Japan in its red development at that time, then it would have had to bear the stain of those of us who shame humanity forever, which has probably been done to a great extent today. America puts such a clause in Article 9 of the Constitution of Japan which divides the people of Japan into 2 groups. According to the article, restrictions were imposed on Japan that it can never maintain its army and cannot participate in any war. This clause is valid till the year 1952, but after that some changes are made in it. Actually, friends, by this time the Cold War had started between America and the Soviet Union, and the American army was afraid that if they stay in Japan, then the Soviet Union may attack them. In view of this, America leaves Japan by handing over its government to them, and this clause is put in Article 9. Japan is not prepared for war, but it definitely maintains the strength for self-defense. On the 19th of January 1960, a treaty of mutual cooperation and security was signed between American President Dwight D. and Japanese Prime Minister Noboso, in which America promised Japan that if any country attacks Japan, it will be considered America's responsibility and America itself will join the war against it. However, friends, seeing what America did with Afghanistan and Ukraine, Japan's trust has weakened, and in 2014, the then Japanese Prime Minister Sanju Abe has given more power to the Japanese Defense Forces by amending Article 9. Along with this, Japan has also increased its defense budget in the last few years so that it can prepare itself in advance for any war situation. However, despite knowing this for so many years, Japan has still kept a distance from nuclear weapons, and it never wants to forget that moment of death which has given countless tears to its people. By the way, friends, what do you think? Was it the right decision of America to attack Japan with nuclear weapons or not? If not, then please tell